Okay, so remember what we did on the weave was we used, this was the hair we used, and we told you clearly it was synthetic hair, but I'm going to take you through human hair styling once we finish showing you this. And what we did use is 2.5 pack. There's some more in here. Again, depending on what your client wants, you may use more or you may use less. And when it comes to human hair, we work with Slick, and we work with another group called Sensational. There are so many other companies. Remember, we're going to talk about the different types of hair extensions, and I will take you through all the various ones you will come across. But for our cutting, you need to know what to use. Now, when it comes to hair cutting, you're looking at a different ball game. This is different area of hairstyling that's completely different from weaving. You would then hear about hairdressing schools or cosmetology colleges that specialize in hair cutting, and we have been able to just put a little hint of cutting into the weaving we do. Lots of people who offer weaving courses don't show you how to cut, but we just give you an extra. So to get into cutting, you need a cutting scissors or shears, some people call them. Now for cutting, you need very good sharp scissors. It's not the regular braiding scissors that we've been working with earlier. These are very sharp, very sharp, and so it's important that you health and safety, you are very careful, and I'll talk you through that. And they cost a lot of money as well. And then I would also like you to know about we call it thinning scissors. So you see the little teeth in them. And then we also have the cutting comb. They're usually very thin teeth, so they actually comb through the hair very well. Thin cutting scissors. And then usually you will have the cutting clips. Now this is different from the clips we used for braiding, which was the other type. So it actually helps to shear the hair into an even finish, to give you a really lovely look when you start giving it a fringe that you don't want it to be blunt. This is the best one. So we'll be working with all of them. You see how they work. Okay, so to start with your bang or fringe, as we call it, you make sure you comb it straight from the closure. And what you want to do is to clearly note where you want to create that fringe. So the hair that's coming from the closure comes straight down. That's what we're interested in. And then we make sure they're falling in their natural form. As in, this is where they would normally fall when she walks around. So we create an opening on her face. So you see what we've done. So usually our immediate worry is, see her eyebrow. So we want to be in the middle of the eyebrow. See that? So once we've decided where that is, clear that the hair out of the way. Then we hold it with a clip. And once we've done that, we'll take the other clips and hold away the ones we're going to be working with. So that's our face. We know where we're going to put the fringe. So now we concentrate on cutting the hair. Now remember this, if you were working with virgin human hair or 100% human hair, it's not every time they want you to give them a cut. So there are times you finish and the hair is just naturally layered all the way down, because they want to style it and do different things with it. So it's not for you to just automatically decide to cut. Your client will tell you what they want, but we're just taking you through a basic one length cut. One length cut is what you call the blunt cut. So we're going to take away all the uneven hairs, just for you to know that how that is done. Okay, so depending on the hair you're working with, if this was virgin hair, 100% virgin human hair, your client may not want you to do anything to it. So what you'll be having is layer defect, where the hair is uneven, and that's because they're going to style it. They bought it for various reasons, different lengths, so they don't want you to come about cutting it and doing different things with it. But when you're working with 100% human hair or synthetic hair as we have here, you can then cut it into different designs. And hair cutting in weaving, remember, is not the most natural thing that could have happened to weaving. When you go to cosmetology college or hairdressing college to learn how to cut hair, they take you through a natural head where the person's hair is growing from their scalp, and so you hear things like natural movement because the hair is actually moving from the scalp. Now we've actually stitched hair onto a base and we are now trying to cut it. So this is something that you have. What we've done here, we've used our knowledge from hairdressing school to add to weaving to give you something that you can work with. So this is how you go about it. Go by going from ear to ear and then start with the hairs that are on the sides, and then we are going to go back on the tracks that we've worked with. So once you've got the first track, set of tracks, because it's not always the exact track by track, but you can follow groups of tracks. And you can always clip them away if they're giving you problems. Clip the one you're not working with away completely and focus on the one you're working with. You also hear things like dry cutting and wet cutting. Wet cutting is when you apply water on the hair before you cut. Now what that gives you is, again, in natural hair cutting, hair is longer when it's wet, and it actually sits a lot better. And here we're talking about straight hair, Caucasian hair, because this is what hair cutting is all about. It's about cutting Caucasian hair that's naturally straight. Now if you wanted to cut Afro hair, that hair has to be chemically processed to give it that straight look. And this is again another area where I personally had to challenge the system. If you were to cut someone's hair who's got virgin Afro hair that's kinky and coily, how do you go about cutting that? Because what I'm going to be showing you is not the same thing that you'll be applying when you're cutting somebody's hair who's got coily, kinky hair. So all of this is based on Caucasian hair, and when we apply a bit of water, the hair falls a lot straighter and allows you to cut it. So that's what wet cutting is all about. And dry cutting are experts who are very good at cutting. They can gauge where the hair will be when it's dry or when it's blow dried, and that's why they can afford to cut hair when it's dry. But these are all very, very detailed knowledge in hair cutting. So if you were really keen on becoming an expert in cutting hair, you should be attending a cosmetology college or focus on going to a specialist place that teaches you how to cut hair. And we're talking natural hair. But once you've got good at that, you can use that same knowledge to try and add that to your hair weaving. There are different degrees that you'll be told how you hold hair. Now when you hold the hair all the way straight down, that's 0 degrees. And sometimes you hear when you lift it up slightly, it's 45 degrees. And when you go further up, it's 90 degrees. And when you then take it high up, straight up like that, that's 180 degrees. One length cut, which is what we're doing today, we are going for the 0 degrees. You don't lift it anywhere. You stay just down there where the hair is. You decide where you want to stop, and then you cut. And we are stopping right here to take away all these excess hairs. wrong scissors. So take away all the excess hair and we just cut through. See that? See how my fingers held it in place, and you just cut, and that's one length. So your next stage, after you've done the first cut, the next stage is you take a little bit of the first cut, which is that one, and then you add some of the one you have not cut. See that? And they call that the guide. So the one you have cut becomes your guide to do the next cut. And that's how you stay consistent with yourself. So that's our first line. We've cut it. And you make sure you check it and make sure everything is the same. When you're not sure, there's also what we call the comb, scissors over comb cut, where your scissors sits there and the comb sits there and the scissors comes and cuts exactly where the comb is. Now what that gives you is very, very precision cutting, where it's exactly where the comb is. Your comb becomes your guide. Okay, so we've done that first line. So what you do next is release the hair and get a second line. But generally don't take too much, because if you take too much it becomes too confusing to know what you're doing. So take just reasonable length, volume, and you can see the difference. So you see the one we've cut inside, you see the new hair sitting over it. So again, you make sure you hold away whatever you're not working with at the time. And this is again where we bring the water in. Spray just so you have the same length. And then you come through and do exactly the same thing we did earlier. And this is where what we've cut at the back becomes the new guide. So the hair we had at the back becomes our new guide. So we cut. And then again, just like earlier, you use a little bit from the one you've cut before and the one you haven't cut. And the one at the back and on the side becomes your new guide. And that's how you carry on. Okay, so we finish the back cuts, and then you can see how equal they are. That's your one length cut. All right, so we're gonna go to the front now. Okay, so first we start with the sides. So again, following your one length cut, you can still carry on taking them in little groups, or you just follow up on what you've done. Again, aim and be sure that you're getting your one length. I may not be having my one length because the hair on the sides are really short, because I used, ideally when you're doing a one length cut, the one at the back should be slightly shorter hair and the one in front should be slightly longer hair, and that way you can actually mate each other. But it's just to give you an idea about how this is done. So that's our side done, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. The other side, we follow exactly what we did with the previous side. Now remember another trick: when you're cutting hair, make sure your client is standing. Sometimes if the hair is really long, client needs to stand so you can get the exact length. Otherwise, if the hair is not that long, she has to completely sit straight. Any angling when you're cutting hair affects your haircut. So if this client moved a bit to the left, one side will be longer, the other side will be shorter. And if she moved a bit to the other side, same thing happens. So whenever you're cutting hair, that person has to completely sit straight. No slouching on the chair. She has to completely sit straight to get an exact length. Okay, so we finished with our sides and the back, so you can see what that's showing us, and that. Now we want to give her the bang. So what you then do, exactly like we did earlier, take them in little groups. But before you do all that, make sure the sides are completely protected away from you, so you're not mixing it all up. Okay, so I've pushed the sides in. This is what I'm going to cut. So I've just taken a line just like we did earlier, and I'm going to start with this. Now when you cut in your fringe or bang, make sure the hair sits completely flat on her face so you know exactly where you are. Looks like I got more on this side, but let's see. Yeah, so you've got your hair, it has to sit right in the middle of her face. So you see her eyebrows on both sides. So once you've got what we want to work with, then you take them in strips, just like we did earlier with the back. Again, make sure it's all nicely wet, not too wet, but damp, and comb through. Then you start your cut, and again in little bits to avoid that issue with not getting the hair in the right place. So you hold your hand. Now usually don't go over the eyebrow, because this is where I was explaining about wet hair and dry cutting, wet cutting and dry cutting. If this is human hair and we cut it here, by the time we start styling and blow drying, it's going to go higher, because when hair is wet, it's longer. So this is the trick. Make sure it's just standing just either by the eyebrow, depending on how long she wants it to be when you finish styling, or slightly a bit further down. So if it's a bit further down, you're better off bringing it further down, see that, than taking it higher up, because once you've cut, you've cut. The only other way is to plant hair back or stitch new hair in. So you cannot be planting hair on hair that's cut, so you're better off making sure you cut lower and gradually go higher than high, and then you stop. So again, the comb comes to hand. You take a bit of a guide from there and take a new one, and then you cut again and do the same thing. And cut. And that's your first line. You do the same thing with your second line. Again, make sure it's all nicely wet or damp. Now you'll be saying to me, what if this was a human being? Yeah, there's always some cover. You use it to cover her face while you're doing this, so that water is not going straight into her eyes. Again, remember your guide from the back and the sides. We want you to get really comfortable with doing this before you start doing this on some person, because if you don't get comfortable with doing this here, you're not going to be able to do this with your client or friend or sister or mommy. So make sure you practice this over and over on your own before you pass it on to someone. So once you finish curling that, you drop the whole hair down. So now you can really connect all of them and bring down your bang the proper way it's going to fall on her face. So that was our beginning. Okay, so we dropped that, and now for you, just check and see how far you went. So it was too close to her face, so you want to spread that out a bit, and then you slowly come out to the sides. Remember, you're looking out for how the hair falls naturally, because you don't want to finish this cut and then the one you've cut is the one that's actually overlapping and sitting on her sides. So you want to make sure that the hair that you've given as the bang is actually the hair that's the bang. So again, we carry on. Now remember, you are deciding, you and her are deciding what kind of style you're giving her. You could have tilted your hand and give it like an arched look. Or what we're doing is just a straight blunt bang as Nicki Minaj and a few other celebrities love to wear. So straight, sharp bang. That's what we're creating here. So again, you can do different things. I'll give you some ideas on what goes on sometimes. So we've done that side, and then we come to this side, and also even out this side. Again, making sure we are following the natural fall. So now you get the hair. Now remember, because it's synthetic hair, sometimes they don't sit well, they just fly over. But I'll take you through the 100% human hair where you'll see. So we've done that. See that? Now if you find that weight is too heavy and you want to just reduce it a bit, sometimes you can carry on and give it like a natural tilt to the sides. See what my hand's doing? So your scissors going down and taking hints from the sides. So it's not looking a big blunt sharp. So you go on this side and you take some hair away. So it drops naturally on her body. And you do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so you got your big blunt bang. Now this is where the razor comb comes in. If you find that hair was a bit too heavy for you, you bring that razor comb and you tone it down a bit. So again, this is synthetic hair. It's not going to let us do too much, but you're going to see the effect of that when we work with the human hair. So you see that? So you're toning down the weight. So if this was human hair, we'll take the iron, straightening iron, flat iron, and then hold that down a bit. And there'll be less hair on her forehead. So it reduces the weight. So again, while we're working with the reducing weight, remember the thinning scissors, it takes away a lot of weight from the hair. So what you do, you hold the hair and then your scissors goes in. What it actually does is it cuts the hair but without leaving a blunt. See that? So we've taken out some hair without giving any sign as if we did take out hair. And I'll show you more about what this thinning scissors does. You see that some of the hairs are in the scissors, but I'll take you to the side and show you what that will show you. So let's say we wanted to thin here, it was too heavy, we're fed up with this hair, it's too much. So we come here, we lift the hair we want to work with, and we'll bring our thinning scissors and we'll go into the hair and cut. See that? Now hold on, I'll show you how much hair we've taken out of this hair with that action. So that has actually taken out so much hair from the hair without you actually showing any sign that you cut some hair out of it. And you could do this over and over and over until you achieve the kind of weight you're looking for. So that's why when people worry about putting too much hair in, I say do not worry yourself, because you're better off putting enough hair that doesn't show any tracks than putting less hair and then you're struggling to cover the tracks. Because if you have too much hair, you've got tools that can take out the hair easily. We finished the cutting. So generally, this is what she will look like. This is the 100% human hair we had done, and I just talked you through the synthetic hair. So I'm going to take you through styling the 100% human hair, because you can apply heat on them. So there are different stages to setting your hair ready for styling. Some people prefer using the blow dryers, and then you blow dry the hair. Now when you blow dry, you're actually applying heat to these hair extensions to kind of give it that subtle slick look where they look really nice instead of just the way it was in the pack. So for blow dryers, you're looking at different types of blow dryers. So this is one I work with. I prefer Babyliss, they're really good. That's a professional one. That's another one I work with, Revlon. Again, what you want to focus on when you're blow drying is the nozzle, because this is the nozzle that actually brings out the heat directly, and you can focus it on the hair you're working with. So once you got your blow dryers, then you're looking at your brushes, and different brushes do different things. So again, when I did my hairdressing course, this is where I picked up all these skills. You need to be able to do a bit more research. This is what I encourage all my students to do. Research for yourself some of the things that do different things for you. This is called the padded brush, and this is called the round brush. So there are different types, and this again are the regular ones, and this, they use this to aerate the hair. So they do different things. So if you want the hair to sit really flat, you'll be working with the padded brush. And then if you want it to create volume, you'll be working with the round brush. So we're going to walk through, just give you hints of what they look like. And like we said, it's a lot of practicing to achieve great results. Then once you're done with the tools, we're looking at the products that actually help you achieve that look. And we work with mousse, we work with serum or polisher, and again different things. This is another type of mousse, but it's very liquid. So there's so many different types of products that do different things. Care is one of those companies that creates really lovely products. Organic growth stimulator, design essentials, there are lots of them, and they have products that do different things. You remember we talked about blow drying. The other one is wrapping. So what you actually do, you take all the hair into a nice wrap, and then you apply the mousse. There's one they call the silk wrap. It's a product, you just apply it on the hair, and then you take your cling film and wrap around the client set. So is it at the cling film, or there's a net as well that really helps to create good job. So you take the net and wrap around the client's hair, and she can sit under the hooded dryer. So it's the same effect that the blow dryer gives you that the sitting under the hooded dryer gives you. Some more tools I forgot to mention. This is another type of round brush that, again, you see where you're actually seeing the body of the brush. Now the air just flows through that quicker and gives you quicker results. There's another thing called styling spritz. Styling spritz contain alcohol and they help to hold your hair in place. So especially when you're creating waves, this is a better product to use. And then there's another product, we have it in our stock. It's called Power Care. It actually helps to give your hair good weight and body, so it's not looking all frilly all over the place. So this gives you some body and shine as well. Okay, so to start with the mousse, you shake it and then you spray it into your hands, and then it forms a really lovely foamy film. And that's what you just apply on the hair, concentrating on the tips as well. Now remember, you cannot be doing this with synthetic hair, and that's why we dropped that one. And I'm concentrating on the human hair now. Synthetic hair will not allow you to apply heat because they melt. It's actually made from plastic. So you apply that on. Way, and then we put our Power Care in. We just press it on. And if you were going to work with waves, then you would have had to put your spritz, but we're not creating waves now. This is just another mousse, so you don't need anything, and we don't apply that yet until we're going to straighten and flat iron it. And if you were going to sit under the hooded dryer, so once you've done this, then you brush the hair through completely. So the product completely sits in. And that's when you're going to wrap the hair. Wrap the hair from brushing. Hold it in place. Completely wrap it, and take the net and put it over it, and then she sits under the hooded dryer. And then I would have had to really take my time to make sure I'm wrapping it properly. Make sure it's all clean and neatly done. Not doing a good job because that's not what I'm going to do anyway. Then you put the net on it, and then she sits under the hooded dryer. But for us, we're going to blow dry. And that's what I'm going to show you. Again, blow drying, it's something that has been perfected with Caucasian hair, and so waves, especially the straight waves, has adopted that as part of his styling technique. Remember we talked about virgin afro hair. I would never advise you to put blow dry on natural afro hair, because what happens is afro hair needs a lot of moisture. And each time you blow dry, what you're doing, you're taking away that moisture, and that is what is causing the hair breakage. because if the hair is dry, the next thing it breaks. So what we need in Afro hair is a lot of moisture, not to take it away. So that's a mistake lots of people are making. So blow drying is not our thing for virgin hair, natural hair, but it's something we use for weaves. Okay, so your dryer on, you put the hair with the brush, and then you pop out the nozzle. Okay, so what I've done is I placed the hair into the brush, and then I focus this nozzle onto the hair, and I just pull. I do the same thing and pull. So I'm applying heat directly onto the hair, and it helps to make the hair feel smoother and softer. If I were to use the round brush, watch my action. I'll get the brush underneath the hair, see that? So it's all in, and then I'll be focusing my nozzle on the brush, and watch my hand. I'll be rolling and rotating the brush. And by the time I finished, the hair would have created waves at the end. So we finished blow drying, and you get similar effects like in styling in your blow drying, because it just allows the hair to flow easily, silkily, looking nice, and that's it. But obviously it's not enough for some people. If you notice, I lift this head and I put it back. That's the best way to work with it. Don't go turning and turning. When you turn, you disturb this stand, and then it keeps dropping off. So you're better off just lift and sit. Okay, styling. So now you finish with your blow drying, and she still wants a bit of straight, very straight hair. I've got clients who behave like that, and so whatever you do, they still know what they want. Again, if you have to start applying electricity products and all kinds of things to give the client what she's looking for, remember you charge extra for that. And that's why when you tell them your weave is X amount, they start comparing with other people. What other people do is just give them a head of weave, done. All this process we are going through, they don't know about it. So if you want to go extra mile, offer your service to be unique, that's when you concentrate and achieve all this training that I'm putting through to you. Okay, so this is our straight flat iron. Now there are so many different brands. This particular one is called Rusk. When we talk about extensions and products and tools, I'll show you the different other brands there are, but for now just concentrate on the Rusk. So then we'll need a comb to allow our, just a plastic comb that does not allow heat to interfere with it. This is the one I use all the time. So again, it's going to help us work through the heated hair. And then we need a serum. This is where the serum comes in, and that's where the spritz would have come in as well if we were going to create waves. But for now, we're just going to straighten the hair. When you apply spritz, very little, not too much, because they're really heavy, and then you apply it on the hair. What you find spritz do is, look at that, automatically is all glossy and shiny. Very little you apply for spritz. If you put too much, what happens? They dampen and the hair becomes damp. You want the hair to be free to flow around. Okay, so we're ready to fly. Again, remember to take hair in little sections. So you comb the hair through. That's the section we're starting with. Comb on your left hand, so that's you. It goes through. Flat iron on your right hand, and the comb goes through, and again it can go through again, and that's when you're giving a completely straight flat look. See now? So I'll do another one. So comb in your left hand, flat iron in your right hand, and make sure you're taking it, just glide it through, and as you get into the end you comb again and you glide. Remember, you glide, you're not staying in one spot. See what you've done? And I take it around again so you see clearly. Come here with the left hand and your flat iron in your right hand, and you go through it, slowly gliding through. And as you're getting out, you bring the comb back in again, come through, and you glide. You can go a few times if you're not happy. Okay, so you see how straight that look is now? This is what has happened. Look at that. So straight. That's what we call the straight flat ironing. Your hand's not bent, hairs are straight. And then I did say I'll show you how you work with the fringe. So we'll take the fringe again in a little bit so you can see what happens here. Take them in little bits. So you see how that, look at the one I've done and look at the one I haven't done. So this is what we mean by hair goes up when it's heated and when it's dry, and when it's wet is straighter and longer. So again, some more. So what you then do, once you've done that, you comb it through. You see the difference, so it's slightly angled up. If I wanted to angle it really high up, I can still do that. And what you do is you lift your hand really high. Again, you can take them in little bits if you want it to really give you different effects. So lift your hand high and then fold it. See how that's completely gone a lot shorter. So if you fold your hand, it makes it shorter, and if you angle your hand straighter, so look at that, fold, you see that, so it completely takes it a lot shorter than before. So if I done all of them like that, that's what you'll be getting, like a puffy look at the front. So I can always take it back. So take them in little sections. And the styling makes a big difference between the regular wave and a different wave that you've created. Look at that. See how that's changed? And remember how we created that straight bang look? Now if I wanted to curve this so she gets some of the hair coming to her body, this is what you do. You put your iron in and you fold your hands as you go along. But make sure you comb it before you fold. Look at that. So you see the difference between the one that folded and the one that's straight. So again, just to show you a bit better, you don't have to take them in large chunks. Smaller chunks are better. And as you're going, you fold in your hands. You fold in your hands. See the difference? Straight and curved. So depending on the style your client wants, there are times you may have to use a curling iron. And earlier I showed you Babyliss. This is Babyliss again, but this time it's curling iron. So there are so many different types again, which we'll have in another video showing you all the different types of equipment you can come across. Remember that this equipment are constantly changing, so there are always newer things coming out. Don't you stop learning and say, oh, I bought this DVD and this is what they said and that's it. Update your knowledge constantly. So there might be another time when this is not the one. There's so many different types. I'll show them to you when we talk on equipment. But for now, this is the curling iron. So you heat it up. Depending on where you're based, some of the heats may vary and the appliances may vary. So you got this section of hair you want to work with. This is where we apply the spritz, because the spritz gives a volume and it also helps to hold it down. So we apply the spritz and then that's your curling iron. You need to open it depending on where you want your curls to go to. If you open it upside down, this curls has to wrap around this, or if you do it the other way where you go over it, you come down. So this is very important. It's going to determine what direction your curls go. So you could take it from up or take it from down. So I'm going to go up and that's in. So watch, I roll it slightly first. So once the hair is all in, then I start wrapping it. You notice my hand sitting here. This is cold. So that's one of the beautiful things about this one. It's cold at the extreme end and then it's hot in the middle. So you give it some time to take the heat. So what you find is there are so many, like I said earlier, there are different ones. There are some that don't apply heat at all. So you hear things like the flexi rod and the curl formers. These are different types of, and generally the rollers. You remember our great grandmoms, they used to just put the rollers in their head and go to sleep. Same thing applying here, only this time there's a bit of heat going through to, you know, dry out the hair quicker. All we're trying to do is dry out this hair. So if you put rollers in the hair and went to sleep, the hair will naturally dry. But now we're not going to sleep, we just want to get this hair dry. Probably she wants to go to a party this night, and so all of that helps to determine what kind of tool or equipment you're using. So once it's heated up quite for some time, I'll call it 2 minutes, 1 minute, and then you slowly slide it out. See that? Slowly. So what I've done, I rolled this in another direction. Earlier I rolled it the other way, so you can roll it whichever direction. I tend to prefer the rolling up because the curls tend to be a lot bouncier. Once you've held it enough, the heat saturated around the hair, and then watch how we open it out. You don't just drag it out or release it. What you do is gradually release your hand on the top of the rollers. Of the curling tongue. So you hold and release and hold and release and hold and release. And that's it. So the longer you hold the curling tongue in, the tighter your curls become, because then the heat saturates better and holds it better. And you could have done the whole head in that design, and then what you do when you're styling this is just finger comb it, where you just release it slowly, and that becomes her style. So when you're thinking Kim Kardashian and a few of the celebrities, that's what they're doing, but of course using different types of tools to create these curls. So there you have it, the full cornrow closure wave, natural closure. So you can see from our model here all the different things we did. So we created the foundation, then we stitched on it, then we closed it up, and then we cut it, and then we styled it in different ways. So all of these things are the steps you have to take to achieve this kind of look. And like we said earlier, make sure you take your time, watch this over and over and over again. It doesn't happen overnight, but if you're consistent, you achieve great results. So like we always say, email us, contact us, visit our website, visit our YouTube channels, follow us on blog, Facebook, and chat with us. Tell us how you're getting on. Send us your pictures as well. We'd like to see them and advise you on what we think you should be doing. So thank you for buying the DVD, and stay in touch with us because there's going to be a lot more coming this way. Products, tools, extensions. You need to know all of them to clearly say to yourself, I know what I'm doing. So thank you again.